And hello good people of the internet, it is I, Tommy Kelly, and this is Adventures in Woo Woo. And in this episode I want to talk a bit about these guys, who are the Four Devils. Now I don't talk much about the Four Devils, and I don't think I have any videos about them, and I certainly don't have much up on the website about it. And the reason is, I'm not really a huge fan of the Four Devils. I don't think I've ever even actually used them, other than maybe Cranvock briefly, and there's a number of reasons for it. But the main reason is they were never meant to be a thing. They were just meant to be a kind of a throwaway thing, little project I did one afternoon because I left admitting a Facebook group. So it surprises me, and it was a great lesson for me in the sense that I don't have the luxury, I suppose, in one sense, of doing throwaway stuff now. Even down to when I do any kind of drawing, I have to stick up on Instagram or wherever it is. You know, nearly always there'll be a question, is this a new servant? Is this a new servant? I'm going, no, like it's just, I just draw. Sometimes I just draw, and it's not everything has to be related, one, to magic, and two, to, you know, servitors. I hopefully am more than a one-trick pony when it comes to things like that, but perhaps that's just like someone battling the one hit they've had as a band, and then they spend the years trying to disown that song. Maybe so. I don't disown the Four Servants, so I'm very proud of them. But I had been an admin of Chaos Magic Group, or CMG, on Facebook for I think about 2 years. I can't really remember, and I'd been a member for a number of years. And Chaos Magic Group is a very unique place, and it's very high energy and a very particular energy, and it's one of the greatest learning experiences of my life towards social media, towards people, good and bad, and you know, how to deal with people and interact with people in chaos magic circles and in kind of social media itself. Learned so much from it, but it was my time to go. I just, from a number of reasons, time mostly, and a couple of different, you know, I just knew I wasn't aligning with it in the way I possibly used to. So I thought what I would do is use the energy of me leaving the group, and I kind of left kind of a bit low key. I didn't make a big kind of hoo-ha about it or anything, but I thought I'd take the energy of that and launch some servitors with it. And why the Four Devils though? Why did it go into that? It was kind of just a very quick idea that just came out. You know, I hadn't been thinking about it too much. I had in the back of my mind the whole thing of Tony Robbins, which when he originally did his 30-day personal power program, which was you listen to like a cassette tape back in the day, every day for 30 days. And by the end of it, you know, you were master of the universe or whatever. And I'd done that a number of times and I liked it. But I remember reading an interview of him saying that some people just said, I'll never be able to do it for 30 days. So that he said, right, well, I'll do one that you can do in 7 days. And so I kind of thought about that idea and go, well, how could I condense the 40 servants into the equivalent, you know? And I was thinking, well, you can have that whole thing of health, wealth, wisdom, and happiness. So you have 4 rather than 40. And I did, I drew one for wealth, which is Jardel, and I don't really like the drawing. It was just kind of a, you know, an idea, and it's not a particularly good drawing. And one of the reasons I don't really like the Four Devils is I don't really like the art of it. I don't think it's particularly good. And then it kind of spiraled out, and people were into it, and I wasn't going to do all of them at once. I was going to kind of, you know, do it over a period of days or maybe over a period of weeks. But I just had the time, and I was at the day kind of been interested that I did the 4 of them. And then it was kind of like I won Facebook for that day. It just absolutely like thousands of shares and likes and interactions, and it was very, very weird. More than the 47s everywhere. The 47s have kind of gradually or exponentially built up over a number of times, but the Four Devils just kind of just exploded out in that one day, and there was no pulling it back. Where do I start with why I don't like it? Let's just say I don't like the artwork, particularly of Jardel. In my mind, Varman and Harvin, the artwork, it's the wrong type of artwork for them, because blatantly, or like obviously, that Varman is a plague doctor, so he should be something to do with health, but yet he's to do with the wisdom. I do like the Cranvock artwork, but then there's a story with that. The original Cranvock artwork I did, and I quite liked. And then I was scrolling through Pinterest a couple of days later, or a couple of weeks later, not quite sure. I think my blind is about to fall in. And I noticed a photograph of ghosts by a photographer called Cavan the Kid. Now, I like Cavan the Kid, and I've certainly seen his stuff, and I definitely would have come across this photo before. And it's near identical. It's identical to a photo of Cranvock, my artwork to it. And that was very shocking in many ways, in that I hadn't obviously purposely did it, but it was so close to it that there was no, there was no getting around it. That's where it came from, and it was kind of shocking. And then when I was looking up the kind of reverse image search, whatever, the main thing that it went to was a whole interview with Kevin the Kid, which was talking about depression and sadness and how photography had helped him turn depression and sadness into happiness. And that was very odd because, of course, Cranvock is, a servitor for happiness. So I kind of pulled everything off the website, man. Well, I don't want this going out anywhere if it turns out that I've stolen something from someone, and I wouldn't want to be seen as someone who's doing something as dishonest as that. But I did email him kind of immediately and said, here's what happened. I've sold a couple of prints, happily give you the money, whatever it is. And he didn't get back to me. He got back to me fairly quick. I mean, didn't get back to me immediately, like they say in all those newspaper things. We did, the government of the United States of America didn't immediately get back to us, which means that the press send and the email at the same time, or the email that they're questioning. Anyway, so what I decided in the meantime was that I would redo the artwork for Cranvock, and that would kind of, that would sort it all out. And then I did the artwork, which is the second artwork, and I have a video on my YouTube, which is this artwork for those watching on YouTube. And you can see that I'm drawing it, it's not taken from anywhere. And then I released that up and, had replaced the 4 devils. And then next day, someone emailed me, have you seen this other photo by Kevin the Kid? And it's exactly the photo of, pretty much, of my new artwork. And I was like, man. So I pulled it all down again. Then I got an email from Kevin. I actually like it. I think it's cool. I'm happy for you to do whatever you want. Maybe if you want, you could just add, inspired by or based on, I think he said inspired by the work of Ghost by Kevin the Kid, but he's cool with it. I thought that was super cool and super nice, and I said I'd send him, a set of the prints, and that was it. That was kind of thing, but it left a kind of a bad taste in my mind, and anything that I had, any kind of love, or as we say in Ireland, any graw we had around the 4 devils, just that completely killed it all together, because they weren't really gelling with me. It wasn't an idea that I really was that into in the first place, and now it had kind of backfired in a way, or had caused me hassle, or had made me feel uneasy. Even so much so that when it came to the Brazilian version of it, I really didn't want them to print it or do different versions of it. And Vinicus from Penumbras Livros, he was like kind of going, well, that's, I understand, but I would really love to have it. And in the end, I kind of acquiesced to it, just because what I decided about the 4 devils is that just because I'm not into it doesn't mean that I get to stop other people being into it. Which is why you can get pretty much, and always have been able to get the printable artwork of the 4 devils on the website, so that it's not just a kind of a lucrative kind of thing done for money, or can at least not be seen, although I do the same with the 47s as well. But it's an interesting type of thing, and I don't really know how I feel about them now, other than that I have no real attachment to them. And when people ask me about them, I don't really know what to tell them, like, have you any more about the 4 devils? I go, no, because I don't, I don't want to just blurt out and say, yeah, I'm not into them, because I don't want to kind of kill their experience of them if they're having a good experience. And people seem to love Jardel, or Jardel, whatever you want to pronounce it, and Cranvock and Harvin and Varman. They seem to like them and get a lot from them. So who am I to kind of sully that with my own discontent around them? But it was a very interesting learning experience on many levels. From an artistic kind of, have to be really careful with what you're drawing and where your influences are coming from. In the same way, people like Kurt Cobain, Come As You Are, is he had to give up most of the publishing away because it was another song. Who was it? I can't remember offhand. George Harrison with why is my brain not working today? The Harry Christian song. What's that called? My Sweet Lord. And all these kind of things where it's just subliminum in there, and it just comes out. But it's so weird with the Cranvock one, because if someone showed it to me and said that wasn't directly referenced from the photo, I would not believe them that wasn't directly, because there's like a fold that's near exact on it. Now the arm is different, and there is differences and stuff, but there's a fold on the tail that's pretty much exact from the photo. But that's it. That I don't have an enjoyment of them, and to kind of that whole experience kind of ruined it all for me, and it's not, I don't really like it. and it's not one of my victories, or it's not something that I feel in a sense good about, even though I don't feel too bad about it now because it all sorted out. But it always kind of feels like there's something unsettling or unfinished or slightly wrong, that I did something wrong, that there's some sort of guilt involved with it, or something that I just can't allow myself to enjoy it. But as I say, if you do enjoy them, then more for, good, more power to you. So it's one of those things where I think, because of the nature of it, we just came out very quick, and it just kind of happened very quick, and all that round it, that I assume it was, not, maybe it's not for me. Just in that sense, it was just a channel that it just came out, and it's now completely other people's, and that's the way it is, and it doesn't really matter if I'm into them or not. So yeah, that's the Four Devils. Used them exactly the same as you would with any of the 47s. People ask me about divination. I wouldn't use them for divination. I just wouldn't, because they're not designed for divination. But if you are, it would quite just literally be happiness, wealth, wisdom, health, wisdom, happiness, and the other one. Good people of the internet. Until tomorrow, have a good time, and may all your creative endeavours please you and not give you kind of sleepless nights and heartache. And if they do, may you run into people who are as nice as Kevin the Kid. I will put the blog post I did about this in the show description, so if you want to see all the photos and stuff like that, you'll be able to see them and see his photos. He's a wonderful photographer, really inventive and really cool, and very kind of occult influenced. So before I sweat anymore, be well, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. And may our best days be ahead, because I think that's important to focus on that at the moment.